At this very moment, as you hear these words, as your eyes scan this page, I want you to understand that something truly marvelous is happening. Do not believe for a second that this is an accident, a coincidence, or a random algorithm of the world. There are no accidents in this world. There is only the ceaseless, purposeful outpushing of consciousness. And that consciousness is your very own consciousness, which is God. Your own wonderful human imagination, the eternal I am, that is your true self, has brought you to this point. This is an appointment you have made with yourself. For months, perhaps for years or even decades, you have cried out from the depths of your being. You have desired a fundamental change in your world. You have looked at the shadows of lack, of debt, of limitation. And a part of you, the real part of you, the God within, has said, "This is not my home. I was made for more." That cry, that deep and wordless desire, is a prayer, and it has been answered. You have been led here to these words because you are ready. You are ready to awaken. You are ready to stop being a creature, a mere pawn on the chessboard of life, a victim of circumstance, and to claim your birthright. And what is that birthright? It is your power as the creator of your circumstance. You are ready to awaken from the long, dark, and yet strangely comfortable sleep of poverty and claim the glorious, infinite abundance that is already and always has been yours. For years I, like you, misunderstood the very nature of reality. I walked this earth as a man asleep. I looked upon the world of Caesar, and what is the world of Caesar? It is the world of facts. It is the world your five senses report to you. It is the number in your bank account. It is the redundancy notice on your desk. It is the doctor's report. It is the headline in the newspaper screaming of inflation and economic collapse. It is the hard data and the cold, hard facts of life. I looked upon this world of Caesar, and I believed it was the cause. I believed it was the solid, immovable reality to which I must bow, to which I must react, and against which I must struggle. I, like you, tried to change the shadows on the wall. I, too, worked hard by the sweat of my brow, believing that effort was the key. I, too, hoped, which is but a confession of lack. I too prayed to a God outside of myself, a distant deity in the sky, begging for a change that I alone had the power to decree. But the truth, my dear, is so profound in its simplicity that the world, in all its supposed wisdom, in all its complexity and its sciences, has overlooked it. It is this: your outer world is nothing more than a mirror, reflecting what you are in imagination. It is a shadow, and you can never ever change the shadow by fighting it. You can never change the reflection by smashing the mirror. You must find the substance, the cause of that shadow. And that causes your own wonderful human imagination. Men speak of money as a thing. They chase it, they fight for it, they fear it, they kill for it, they worship it. They are entirely, tragically mistaken. Money is not a thing to be acquired. It is not a physical reality. It is the evidence of a state of consciousness. It is, as some are beginning to understand, crystallized emotion, frozen frequency. But whose emotion? Yours. It is the evidence of an inner state of being, a conviction, an assumption. Money is a servant, not a master. It is an obedient, impersonal valet. It has no power, no will, and no opinion. It simply and without question brings you the visible evidence of who you are. If you are in the state of poverty, it faithfully brings you evidence of poverty. If you are in the state of wealth, it must, by the same immutable law, bring you evidence of wealth. To chase money is to misunderstand the entire drama. It is like a master casing his servant, begging him to obey when all he need do is assume the authority of being the master. The problem, therefore, is not your empty bank account. The problem is not your debt. Those are old reflections, the shadows of a man you no longer are, if you so choose. The real problem is the state you are dwelling in. You have, perhaps unconsciously, perhaps by choice, fallen asleep in the state of poverty. How does this happen? How does a being of infinite power, a being that is God, fall asleep in a state of lack? It is taught to you. From your very childhood, you are taught to believe in the reality of scarcity. You are impressed, as a small child, by a world that is itself fast asleep. You heard the voices of your well-meaning parents, teachers, and a world that knows not what it does. You heard them say, money doesn't grow on trees, and you accepted it. You heard, we can't afford that, and you accepted it. You heard, you must work hard for every penny, and you accepted this curse of Adam, this law of effort, not knowing that there is a higher law of grace. You were told by your religious leaders that poverty is noble, or it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter heaven. And so, you began to equate abundance with wickedness and poverty with piety. How then could you ever truly allow yourself to be abundant if on a deep level you believed it would make you unholy? You created a monster of self-sabotage. You heard that the rich are greedy and money is the root of all evil. Another terrible distortion. The love of money, which is the worship of the shadow rather than the substance, may be a distortion. But money itself is simply a channel, a means of expression in this three-dimensional world. Yet by accepting this belief, you put yourself in a terrible bind. You desired wealth for the freedom it brings, but you judged it as evil. And so your desire and your belief were at war. Is it any wonder your world reflects this inner conflict? You fell asleep believing in the reality of lack, And your world, being a faithful and impersonal mirror, has simply and perfectly reflected that inner conviction back to you. Scientists today, in their noble search, are beginning to touch the hem of this great garment of truth. They speak of epigenetics. They have discovered that the traumas of your ancestors, your grandfather's fears during a Great Depression, your grandmother's terror of hyperinflation in 1923, their bone-deep belief that all can be lost in an instant, can be stored in your cells and passed down through generations. This is a marvelous discovery for them, but it is simply what the ancient mystics told us. The sins of the spiritual fathers are visited upon the children. Now listen to me, for this is critical. This is not a curse, it is a law. It does not mean you are doomed by your blood or your genes. It means that you have unconsciously accepted and are now dwelling in the limiting beliefs, the fears, the states of consciousness of those who came before you. You are not paying for their sins, you are repeating them by dwelling in the same state of mind. You have accepted a mental inheritance. It is like being given a hand-me-down suit of clothes, the suit of lack, and you have simply put it on and worn it for so long that you have forgotten it is just a costume. You have come to believe it is you. You have identified with the state of poverty. But I have come to tell you the good news. I have come to tell you that you are not a victim. You are not a victim of your genes, your past, your childhood, your education, or your ancestors. You are not a slave to your epigenetic programming. You are the operant power. Who are you? You are I am. That is the name of God, and it is your name. Before Abraham was I am. Before your genes were formed, I am. Before your ancestors' trauma, I am. And this I am-ness is the one and only creative power in the universe. You can, this very night, take off that old suit of lack. You can be born again out of that old state of lack and into a new and glorious state of abundance. You can, through the power of your own imagination, the power of revision, go back to any moment in your past or your ancestors' past and change it. You can rewrite that scene. You can comfort your grandfather. You can provide for your parents in your imagination. And by changing that memory, you change its effect, which is your present world. This is the true meaning of being born again. It is a change of consciousness, a change of state. So why has it not worked for you before? You have tried. You have read the books. You have repeated affirmations. You have stood before a mirror as I did and shouted, I am wealthy, I am abundant. But you have been standing in a cold dark room, shivering while repeating, I am warm. You have been saying, I am wealthy, while your heart, your feeling, your deep inner conviction is screaming, I am in debt. This is a lie. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot be in two states at once. You cannot dwell in the state of poverty and command the riches of the kingdom. This is the house divided against itself that must fail. This is why nothing has worked. You have been trying to manifest with your conscious mind, that 10%, that little surface level intellect that knows only facts. But your subconscious, your I am, your feeling self, which creates 90%, 95%, even 99% of your reality, remains firmly convinced of lack. This is the futility of vain repetitions, as the great teacher warned. You are not convincing God with your words. God, your own I am, is not deaf. He is not a king to be flattered or bribed. He is the creative principle. He is not impressed by your words. He is impressed by your feeling. He responds only to your faith, which is your feeling assumption. You have been thinking of abundance. To think of something is to see it as separate from you. I want wealth. I wish I were abundant. I need money. These are all confessions of lack. You are admitting you are not that which you desire. You are perpetually in the state of wanting. The secret is to think from the state. To think from abundance is to ask, how would I see the world if I were already wealthy? What would I be feeling right now? I would feel relief, I would feel peace, I would feel secure. That feeling, that is the state. Your conscious mind is the watchman at the gate. Your subconscious mind is the womb of creation. The watchman's job is to guard the gate, to choose what seeds, ideas are allowed to enter. The womb is impersonal, it has no preference. It will grow any seed you plant in it, whether it be a seed of joy or a seed of sorrow, a seed of abundance or a seed of lack. For years your watchman has been asleep, allowing the thieves of the world, fear, doubt, and the facts of your senses to enter and plant weeds in your garden. Your affirmations were like planting a single flower seed while allowing a torrent of weed seeds to overwhelm it. It is like shouting at a mirror. Imagine seeing a frown on your face in the mirror. At the mirror, smile. Imagine begging the mirror, please smile. Imagine getting angry and smashing the mirror because it insists on reflecting your frown. This is madness, yet this is precisely what humanity does. When men fight poverty, or wage war on debt, or struggle against the system, they are smashing the mirror. They are fighting the shadow, which only gives it more reality. The only way to change the reflection is to smile. You must change the self that is being reflected. You must assume the state of abundance, and the mirror of your world will have no choice but to reflect that new, beautiful expression. Today, men of science, in their laudable quest, speak of a quantum field of infinite potential. They speak of the HeartMath Institute and heart-brain coherence. They measure frequencies and vibrations and declare that like attracts like. This is wonderful, but they are only discovering the how, not the who. They are observing the wake of the ship, but I am telling you about the captain of the ship. You are the captain. This quantum field is not outside of you. The entire vast universe, with all its infinite potential, is contained within your own consciousness. This coherence they speak of is what I have always called faith. It is an undivided mind. It is assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled so completely that there is no inner argument, no division. Your hearty feeling and your brain thought are in perfect agreement. They are one. This frequency they measure is not the cause, it is the effect. It is the aroma of a state. You do not raise your vibration to become abundant. You assume the state of abundance, and your vibration raises itself to match it. Automatically, to focus on the vibration is to focus on the effect, just like focusing on money. Do not therefore give power to frequencies or vibrations or planets or any external thing. These are effects, not the cause. The cause is, was, and forever will be your own wonderful human imagination. Your I am-ness. That is the one and only God. This is the foundation. This is the truth. And it is this truth that will set you free. Before I can give you the prayer, the method, you must first accept this foundation. You must stop looking out there for a cause and accept right now that you are the sole operant power in your world. Your world is your mirror, and you alone can change the reflection. Now that you have accepted the foundation, that your imagination is God and your world is but a mirror of the state you occupy, we move from the why to the how. If the cause of all phenomena is within you, how then do you change that cause? How do you move from the state of lack, which you have inhabited for so long, into the glorious, prepared state of abundance? You do not fight the old state. To fight it is to give it life. You simply abandon it. You turn your back on it as you would turn your back on a room you no longer wish to be in, and you enter the new room, the new state, in your imagination. Let me tell you the story of a woman we shall call Maria. Her story is a perfect illustration of the application of this law. Maria was a mother besieged by debt. She worked 3, sometimes 4 different jobs, yet the mountain of bills only grew. Her world was a perfect, crushing reflection of her inner state of despair and panic. She was convinced of her poverty. She was the state of poverty. And like so many, she prayed. She begged a God outside of herself. Please, God, help me. Please just send me a sign. But her world only grew darker, for her very prayer was a violent confession of lack. She was affirming, I am poor. I am in need. And the law, which is impersonal, simply said, yes, you are, and gave her more of what she was. One night, after hearing this truth that she was the cause, she stopped her begging. She sat down not in panic but in quiet contemplation, and she asked herself, what is the cause? She did not look at her bills, they were only shadows. She looked within, and there, in her memory, she found it. She uncovered the root, the epigenetic anchor, the sin of the father that she had accepted. She held a vivid, painful memory from her childhood of her father losing his home. She could still hear the shame and the terror in his voice as he spoke on the telephone. She could feel the cold knot of fear that formed in her own stomach. And she realized with a profound shock that she had been dwelling in that single, tragic moment for over 20 years. That was the state she was objectifying. It was not her debt, it was his loss which she had made her own. That night she did not fight the memory. She did not try to heal it or process it. She revised it. This is a most powerful application of the law. Revision is the key to redeeming the time. For in imagination all time is present. That night Maria lay on her bed and entered that drowsy, receptive state, the state akin to sleep. In her imagination, she went back to that very moment. But she did not replay the tragedy. She rewrote it. She constructed a new scene. She heard her father on that same telephone. But his voice was not filled with terror, it was filled with elation. She heard him shout, "We did it! We saved the house! It is ours!" She constructed this scene so vividly that she felt the profound, breathtaking relief and joy as if it were real. She felt the tears, not of fear but of gratitude, run down her face. She felt the knot in her stomach unwind. She kept playing this scene over and over until it took on all the tones of reality. Then she went further. Having revised the past, she now assumed the present. She did not stop with her father's joy, she moved to her own. In that same drowsy state, she asked herself, what would I be feeling now if I were completely debt-free? She knew the feeling. It was relief. A vast, quiet, profound relief. And so she simply assumed that feeling. She fell asleep feeling blissfully, peacefully secure. Her outer world, the world of Caesar, did not change in an instant. But she had changed, and because she persisted, because she returned to that scene of relief every night, living from the feeling of security, her world had no choice but to conform. Within 72 hours, as the story was told, the bridge of incidents began to appear. A call came from a lawyer regarding a distant relative's inheritance she never knew existed. An unexpected bonus appeared from an employer for work she had done months prior. A tax refund arrived, 5 times larger than she had ever expected. Within a few short days, her entire financial picture was rewritten. It was a miracle to her friends, but to her, it was simply the law. She had moved into a new state of consciousness, and the world had to reshape itself around her new conviction. Now, before you can apply this law, you must do as Maria did. You must first deal with the mental blocks that keep you chained to the state of lack. Many of you cannot become wealthy because you have been taught that poverty is spiritual. You have been told that money is bad, that it is the root of all evil. This is a monstrous lie. It is a lie told by those, perhaps well-meaning, who wish to keep you asleep and enslaved to the world of Caesar. How dare any man teach that God, the creator of all, the source of all life, desires his expression? You to be in want. The promise of the scriptures is not, I came that you might have just enough to scrape by. The promise is, I came that you might have life and have it more abundantly. When the great teacher said, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter heaven, he was not speaking of money. He was speaking of consciousness. The rich man is the man who is so hypnotized by his outer riches, by the world of Caesar, that he cannot let go and enter the eye of the needle, the single-minded focus of imagination, the feeling of the wish fulfilled. He trusts in the shadow his money more than the substance his imagination. Conversely, the poor man, who is constantly aware of his poverty, is in the very same trap. He too cannot enter the kingdom, for he is hypnotized by the shadow of lack. The true root of all evil is not money, it is the belief in lack. It is the state of poverty. You must, right now, give yourself permission to be abundant. The universe is infinite, overflowing abundance. Look at the stars in the sky, the seeds in a single fruit, the sands upon the shore. Scarcity is a human invention, a shadow created by fear. To live in lack is to deny your own divinity. It is to deny your I amness. Poverty is not spiritual. Poverty is a distortion, a state of sleep. You cannot give your true gift to the world. You cannot express the fullness of your being if you are constantly trapped in the state of, how will I survive? So how then do you do it? How do you move from this old man of lack to the new man of abundance? I will give you a drama, a technique. I call it a drama because all it is a focused act of imagination. Do not make the mistake of thinking the ritual has any power. The power is in you. The ritual is merely a tool like a magnifying glass to focus your power, your I amness, until it bursts into flame. You have heard of a prayer to be spoken at a specific time, 5:47 in the morning. Why this specific time? It is not a magic number. It is because at this hour, or in the moments just before you fall into sleep, you are closest to that wonderful, receptive, subjective state, the state akin to sleep. This state is the key. You must understand it. It is that drowsy, passive state where your conscious mind, the watchman at the gate, begins to drift. This watchman is the part of you that knows the facts of your life. He is the one who, if you say, I am wealthy, when you are awake, will shout back, no, you are not! Look at these bills! He is the serpent in the garden tempting you with the fruit of your senses. But in the state akin to sleep, this watchman is asleep. The serpent of doubt is quiet, and the womb of creation, your subconscious mind, is open and receptive. Your subconscious is completely impersonal. It has no preference. It will grow any seed you plant in it. It does not judge. It will grow a seed of abundance just as faithfully as it has been growing your seeds of lack. This drowsy state is the only time you can plant a seed that directly contradicts the evidence of your senses. You are told to stand, to place your right hand on your heart and your left on your solar plexus. This is a wonderful drama. You are not just standing, you are, in your imagination, standing as the creator. Why this stance? It is not arbitrary. You are physically enacting a great, profound spiritual truth. You are uniting feeling the heart, which the mystics call the bride, with Pavatar, the solar plexus, the groom. You are physically creating a circuit of conviction. You are telling your entire being, in a language deeper than words, that you are uniting your feeling with your power. You are acting as the creator. Now breathe deeply, 3 times, in through the nose and out through the mouth. This is not just for oxygen. This is a symbolic act of release. With each exhalation, you must feel as if you are releasing that old man of lack, that entire history of scarcity. Feel the tension in your shoulders, the knot in your stomach, the fear you have carried for so long, and with the breath, let it go. Feel it leaving your body like dark smoke. You are emptying the cup. You are preparing the soil. You cannot put new wine in old wineskins. You must release the old state before you can fully embody the new. Then you speak the words. But you must not speak them as a beggar. You must not ask. You must command. You must speak them with the voice of your future self, the self who already is abundant. Speak them as a declaration of what is, not a petition for what you want. Speak them to your own self, which is God. I am the living consciousness of infinite abundance. Every cell of my body vibrates now in the frequency of wealth. I open all channels and receive none to do the abundance that is my birthright. The money that belongs to me finds its way to me. All blockages are dissolved. All resistance melts away. I am a magnet for prosperity, and prosperity is my natural state. It is done. It is done. Let us understand these words. They are a script for feeling. I am, this is the name of God. You are not I, John, or I, Mary. You are I am. You are claiming your divine authority. Vibrates now. Now. Not will be. The present tense is the only tense in imagination. Will be is a confession that you are not. Receive and W. Again, the immediacy. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. Now, my birthright, you are not earning it. You are not deserving it. It is your inheritance as a child of God, which you are simply claiming. All blockages are dissolved. You are decreeing the removal of all mental obstacles, all epigenetic programming, all self-sabotage. It is done. This is the seal. This is the amen, which means, so be it. It is the great statement of faith. It is finished. But the words alone, my dear, are not enough. They are but the arrows. The feeling is the bowstring. After you speak, you must remain in the feeling. You have heard it said to do this for 17 seconds. This is a useful discipline. But the time is not the secret. The Sabbath is the secret. The Sabbath is that moment of absolute stillness after the creative act, where you rest in the knowing that it is finished. For those 17 seconds or 17 minutes, it matters not. You must feel the money in your account. Do not think of it, feel it. What is the dominant feeling of your wish fulfilled? Is it excitement? No, excitement is a confession of surprise. If you were truly wealthy, you would not be surprised by it. The feeling is relief. It is peace. It is security. It is the absence of fear. Find that feeling. Wear it. You must feel it so completely that your brain, your body, believes it has already happened. You must feel the profound relief of the problem being solved. This is faith. Faith is not hoping it will happen. Faith is knowing it has happened. This is the moment of impression. The seed is planted in the womb. Then you drop it, you rest. You do not dig up the seed to see if it is growing. You trust the law. You fall asleep in that feeling, or you go about your day from that feeling knowing it is done. Now, I must warn you. This is the most critical part of the method. Your senses will rise up in rebellion. The shadow world, your old reality, will roar at you. I promise you, in the first 24 or 48 hours, or the first week, things may seem to get worse. This is what some call the extinction burst. It is the old state fighting for its life. Unexpected bills will appear. Old creditors will call. Your car may break down. This is not a sign of failure. It is the greatest sign of success. It is a sign that the old state is dying. The old programming is being flushed out. It is like a final, desperate roar from a lion you have already defeated. It is the shadow thrashing about as the light of your new assumption begins to dawn. This is the test. This is the testing of the tribes of Israel in the desert. You have left Egypt, your old state of lack, but you are not yet in the promised land, the new state objectified. This is where 99% of people turn back. They see the giants in the land, the bills, the fear, and they say, it didn't work. They lose faith. They drop their new assumption, and they run right back to the slavery of Egypt, because at least it was familiar. You must not flinch. You must not turn back. You must persist. This persistence is the method. The method is not just the 5-minute ritual. It is the 24-hour, a-day faith. So what is the method when the bill arrives? You do not react from the old state. You do not fall into fear. You look at it, and in your imagination, you revise it. You see it stamped P.I.D.I. in Falel. You hear the news. It is taken care of. You feel the relief of it being paid. Then you bless the bill. You give thanks for the abundance that has already paid it. You must remain faithful to your unseen reality, not the seen shadow world. Live from the end. This is the only method. This is the only way. This is the application of the law. Now we come to the most glorious part of this message, the proof. The law is impersonal and absolute. It must, and it will objectify your new state of consciousness. The method, when applied in faith, cannot fail. It is as impossible for it to fail as it is for the sun to fail to rise. Your world will change. But how does it change? And what is the true miracle you should be looking for? The proof is not always a bolt from the blue. The proof is often subtle, natural, and logical, unfolding through a series of events I call the bridge of incidents. Your rational mind will look back and say, well, A led to B and B led to C, so it would have happened anyway. But you, in your wisdom, will know that it was your imaginal act that laid the tracks for that, anyway, to happen. Let me tell you of a man we shall call Robert, a professor from Hamburg. He was a brilliant man, kind educated, but utterly trapped in a state of just enough. He had lived his entire life struggling with money. He was the son of a man who, in his own fear, had impressed upon Robert a terrible, limiting belief: money corrupts the character. This belief, accepted in his youth, became Robert's law. It was the sin of the father he had taken upon himself, and so his entire life became a drama of self-sabotage. He was the man who unconsciously pushed success away. He would mysteriously forget to send invoices for his work. He would accidentally miss deadlines for promotions. He was a good son, proving his uncorrupted character by remaining in a state of noble poverty. When Robert learned this law, he did not just pray the prayer you have learned. He knew that would be useless, for his prayer for abundance would be at war with his deep, subconscious conviction that abundance was evil. He had to revise the cause. So in his imagination he went back. He did not see his father as a man of fear. He revised him. He constructed a scene where his father, his face filled not with fear but with loving pride, placed a hand on his shoulder and said, "My son, I was wrong. Abundance is the blessing of God. It is your birthright. You deserve all the good in the world, and I am proud of your success. He did not just hear these words, he felt them. He felt the release. He felt the tension he had carried in his chest for 40 years simply dissolve. As the story is told, he awoke from this imaginal act weeping tears, not of sadness but of profound, cleansing relief. It was a baptism. The old man, the one who believed in lack, had died. Now watch the proof. Within a week, an old friend from university called him, a man he had not spoken to in years. This friend had just founded a private school and wanted Robert to be its director. The salary, it was 5 times what he was then earning. But that, my dear, was not the miracle. The shadow of money was not the miracle. The true miracle was this: for the first time in his entire life, Robert was able to hear the offer, look at the number, and accept it without a single shred of guilt. He felt no fear. He felt no imposter syndrome. He felt only naturalness. Why? Because he had already become the man who was worthy of it. He had healed the Father within himself. The outer world, his friend, the job, the money, they were just the faithful, obedient messengers confirming the inner change he had already decreed. Let me tell you of another, of Thomas, an engineer in Berlin. He was a good man, logical, rational, but stuck at the same salary for 15 years. He had read every book on success. He had tried everything his rational mind could conceive. But nothing changed. When he learned this law, he looked within and found a different kind of block. It was not his personal psychology, but what some today call epigenetic trauma. His family history was scarred. His great-grandfather had lost everything during the hyperinflation of 1923. The family had been generationally imprinted with the state of, it can all be lost in an instant. Hold on tight, don't risk, don't grow. Thomas realized he was not fighting his boss for a raise. He was fighting his great-grandfather's ghost. He was living in a state of ancestral fear. So what did he do? He used the law to redeem time. He did not just pray for his abundance, he healed his bloodline. In his imagination, he stood with his great-grandfather in 1923. But he did not join him in his terror. He became the savior. He felt himself as infinitely abundant, a rock of security in that past moment. He imagined telling his great-grandfather, "Do not be afraid. It is all right. I am your security. Our family is safe now and forever." He rewrote the ancestral memory, applied his I am-ness to the past. He persisted in this inner act for 30 days. He felt the generational burden lift from his shoulders. And then the bridge of incidents unfolded. A headhunter, a perfect stranger, contacted him out of the blue. A new company, a new position, a salary that tripled what he was earning. But again, that was not the true miracle. The most astonishing proof was this: his daughter, who lived in another city and knew nothing of his inner imaginal work, suddenly experienced her own dramatic financial breakthrough in that very same month. Do you see the magnitude of this? The healing had flowed down the line. By changing his own state of consciousness, by redeeming the past in his imagination, he had changed the present for himself and the future for his child. This is the power you hold. The people in these stories, Robert's friend, Thomas's headhunter, Thomas's daughter, were not separate agents acting of their own accord. They were all playing their parts. This is the great mystery. Everyone is you pushed out. When you change your assumption, when you move into a new state, the people in your world must play the part that your new state demands. They must bring you the good news. They must make the offer. They must conform to your inner conviction. They have no choice, for they are all messengers of your own God, your I am. Now I must give you a most serious warning. This is the test that follows success, and it is the test that most will fail. The money will come. The bridge of incidents will deliver your new reality. But then comes the real test. Your nervous system, your body, which is the old man of habit, the son of sin, is addicted to the feeling of lack. It is familiar with it. It knows the rhythms of stress, of worry, of just enough, of waiting for the other shoe to drop. It has been programmed, perhaps for decades, to equate that feeling with safety and normalcy. When a flood of new abundance arrives, this old man panics. Your body, your old habits of thought will feel unfamiliar. It will feel unsafe. This is too good to be true. When will it be taken away? I don't deserve this. This is the sabotage phase. This is why people win the lottery and are broke and miserable in 2 years. Why? They received the shadow, the money, but they never successfully occupied the state, the consciousness of wealth. Their nervous system, their old man, rejected the transplant of abundance. Your work, therefore, is not just to receive the abundance. It is to train your body to hold it. How? By persisting in the feeling. When the money arrives, you must not feel panic or imposter syndrome. You must feel naturalness. You must normalize it. You do this by returning to your Sabbath, to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. You must look at your new bank account, your new home, your new life, and feel, of course, this is my natural state. This is normal. This is who I am. You must train your body to accept abundance as its new, normal, safe environment. So I challenge you, not for 30 days of asking, but for 30 days of living. I challenge you for the next 30 days to live as if it were true. Every morning, perform your drama. The method from part 1, feel it as real. That is your sacred appointment with God. But that is just the beginning. For the rest of the day, you must live as that new man. This is the true work. When a doubt arises, and it will, you do not fight it. You bless it and return to your assumption. When a bill appears, you revise it in your imagination. Paid. Thank you. When you see lack in the world, you do not join it in fear. You imagine lovingly for it, said they too are abundant. They too are God's children. Thus, this 30-day period is not a trial, it is a gestation. You are the mother, your new assumption is the holy child. You must protect it from the harads of the world, die your own doubts and the facts of your senses for 30 days until it is born strong and can stand on its own as an objective fact in your world. You are now at a crossroads. You have the laws part 20, you have the methods part 20. And now you have the proof part 30. You have the complete key to the kingdom. You can hear these words, nod and call it an interesting philosophy. You can get a momentary thrill of hope and then tomorrow return to the sleep of lack, bowing before the world of Caesar, believing in the evidence of your senses. You can remain the poor man at the gate, begging for the scraps from the master's table. Or you can make a decision. You can decide that tonight is the night you will stop being a beggar and assume your power as a king. You can decide to be the master of the table. The universe is waiting. It is not judging you. It is waiting for your decree. It is waiting for you to stop begging and start ordering. It is waiting for you to claim your power. It is waiting to give you everything that is already yours. This knowledge has found you because you are ready. This is not an accident. Your higher self, the God within you, knows you are ready. The change has already begun. The time for excuses is over. The time for waiting is over. The time for hope, that weak-willed cousin of despair, is over. This is the time of being. Be the abundance you seek. Be the wealth you desire. Be the frequency, the state that is prosperity. The prayer is only the beginning. The true transformation is when you stop doing the prayer and start living the abundance. Remember, this script has found you. You are reading this at this very moment. This is your sign. Your cells are already vibrating with this truth. The true transformation is not the money in the account. It is the moment you finally know in your bones that you are the cause, that you are the power, that abundance is your birthright, that you and your Father are one and all that He has is yours. Welcome to your new life. Welcome to abundance. Welcome home. I am.